right, good morning. Time to get going. Welcome to Forex.Today, the YouTube community of almost 20,000 foreign exchange traders. Today we will gather to conduct technical and fundamental analysis with the overriding goal of putting together trade plans for this wonderful, beautiful New York trading session. With that being said, let me remind you that trading is risky, not appropriate for everyone. Your past performance, good or bad, not necessarily indicative of future results. Please stay small, stay humble, focus on the long term, never risk money you cannot afford to lose. Lucas says, hey, Lucas is part of the day trading group, and he's like, hey, good morning, team. Sorry about the camera yesterday. I didn't realize it was facing the wrong way. Yeah, so Lucas is driving a tractor across his field, and it was great because I could see the field and I could see the tire and everything. But I just love the fact, Lucas, that you have that kind of dedication where you're in a tractor driving across a field. I think you were tilling, and then and you were doing preparing your Forex trading at the same time. I mean, just that's killer. That's killer. That's the dedication you need. So thank you for being an inspiration to us all. That's awesome. So anyways, hey, my name is Wayne McDonald. I'm a currency trader. I love what I do technically, fundamentally. So, hey man, I've been doing this 20 years. I've made a lot of mistakes along the way, and I'm smart enough to learn from them. I've also figured a few things out, which is kind of interesting, and I'm willing to share. Okay, I'm willing to share. That's why I'm here. I want you to succeed. Why not? Seems like an interesting way to give back to the world. So why don't we fix you, or at least your trading? Let's get that trading under control. Interesting things going on in the world, and I inspire you to work a little harder, work a little more focused by actually doing specific things. I think a lot of people they think if they just log in every single day and trade and throw down a bunch of trades, eventually you'll figure it out. But that's like somebody going to the driving range at the golf course, never taking a lesson, never really focusing on what you're doing, but just going to the driving range, pulling out the driver and just smacking a bunch of balls. And you think 10 years from now, you'll be better. And the truth is, talk to any golfer. There are tens of millions of golfers in the United States. Talk to any of them. How much have they improved over the last 10 years of golfing? Zero. Right? They bought a whole bunch of clubs, golf clubs, but they're right, but they're not any better. So anyways, the thing is you got to focus, right? So you got to focus your attention on very specifics. And if we're going to use the golf analogy, start with your stance, your flexibility, your understanding of a modern golf swing, and key important things like your grip. Is it this way? Is it this way? Or are you doing this? Or are you doing this? Okay, all these things matter, huh? So that's where you start, and from there you get better. Johnny's like, yeah, new clubs won't fix a bad swing, but how many times, Johnny, have you seen on TV infomercials about golf clubs that will make you a better golfer? Okay? Do you guys remember in the, early 90s? Spike Lee's commercial for Nike? High flying, death defying 360 slam dunk, right? It's the shoes, remember? And then they show Jordan, and then they show Spike Lee. It's the shoes, and then they show Jordan. It's the shoes, and then it shows Michael Jordan, his giant dunk from from the top of the key, and it's the shoes. Well, no, it might be Michael Jordan, right? But anyways, here's the thing. I want you to succeed, and so I'm going to try to lead by example, lead by giving lessons, lead by giving you focus, lead by changing your perspective. Sometimes I want to give you a bigger perspective. Sometimes I want to give you a smaller perspective. But the thing is to get you out of the habitual mediocrity that we can all, that we all fall into. So every day should be an exciting day. Every day you should be doing your job, but also challenging yourself to look at what we do from all angles. So that's a lot of work for me. For you, I'd like you to do things like subscribe, like, and comment on the recordings of the videos in hopes that that tells YouTube's algorithm that this is quality content and maybe they share this content with others. I think that would be really cool. Also, if you visited tradersway.com and open up a demo account, that would be great as well. Now, I do recommend them. They earned my loyalty and respect probably pretty close to 10 years now, 10 years ago. And they're still one of the better brokers out there. That's it. Faster execution speed, narrow spreads. They don't slip against you. Many brokers do. And they actually pay you your swaps. I mean, it's really cool. Which means they have good liquidity partners if they can pay you good swaps and provide fast execution speed. But from what I can tell, they don't trade against you. And many brokers do. So, I mean, if you think about all that, and then also they're like, hey, man, we really appreciate how you educate our trading community. And this is Traders Way talking, right? Traders Way is like, hey, we really appreciate how you educate the trading community. And we're hoping that this education will make our customer base better. They stay around a little bit longer, and maybe some of them actually become profitable. Now, why would a broker care about that? It's better business than trading against customers. So instead, they're like, we don't want to trade against our customers. We'd like for you, Wayne, to find a way for them to succeed. Well, that's an amazing business model, okay? Business and ethics. So, tradersway.com. Go. Join us. Susan, if you click on it, it says $88 per year. Okay? I mean, it's ridiculously, stupidly, unbelievably, redonkulously cheap. Okay? There are many people here that have paid more than $1,000, and there are many people here have paid several thousand. But when COVID hit, I just cut everything. Just like, I figured people were locked in their apartments and they need help. And I'm like, this is my contribution to society. I'm going to drop prices by 90%. And if that means that you were, excuse me, if that means you were locked in your apartment and you had nothing to do but learn how to trade Forex properly, then that's cool. Yeah, so don't even think about it, just do it. Somebody emailed me the other day and they wanted me to basically give them a sales pitch on why they should pay the $88. Usually my response to that, by the way, is don't do it. If you need a sales pitch to make a decision on $88, you don't want to do it. You don't want to do it. You don't join. That's my sales pitch. Okay, cool. Yeah. By the way, I am trying to come up with an idea about some sort of promotion for the live groups. And if anybody has an idea of, an idea towards attracting more people into our paid community. I know it sounds like a sales pitch. Now I'm giving you a sales pitch. No, I'm talking about it out loud. So people that are part of FX Bootcamp, I'd guess 80 to 90% are like, dude, more people need to be here. This is so good. And it's not me, it's us. It's the community is what I'm saying. So either in the day trading group or the swing trading group, I think we should, I've just been so busy or lazy or both that I haven't promoted the community, but I'm thinking I should need to come up with some idea to like bring in another like 25 people or something to join our community and share and learn. Because like when we're in swing trading, man, we do a lot of collaboration and to get more people from different backgrounds, from different countries, from different cultures. I think we need more women, for example, right? I think we need more women. I want more of a female perspective on all of this stuff. So I should come up Right? I should come up. So if you guys got an idea for a promote, like an idea, like for example, like a summer school, we were talking about maybe this summer we just do something for we do a cryptocurrency, right? Okay. Is that right, Johnny? Yeah. Well, thank you. Construct again. If you need a free trial, I'm not interested. Honestly, I don't give a crap. Right? If someone is not willing to pay the tiny bit of money that it is to improve their trading, I'm just not interested in that type of person. Just there's no value creation there whatsoever. Right? It's like, come on in, pee on my shoes, and then leave. Come in, grab a coffee, eat our donuts, make a few dumb comments, and then leave. I'm like, I'm just not interested. I know, but I'm just like, that's my feedback. I'm not yelling at you. I know that's harsh, but I'm just making that clear distinction. The one thing that's really cool about our community, because it is small, dude, the people at FX Bootcamp, they're hardcore. Right? They're hardcore, 100% committed. Like just talking, we got Lucas driving in a tractor, tilling his field, and he's part of our meetings. He doesn't miss it for our meetings for any reason, right? For any reason. And I'm like, and that is just one guy in a community of hardcore people, and right. So that's I guess what I meant is I need more people like that. Because again, I believe one of the secrets to all entrepreneurial success, and by the way, we're all entrepreneurial. So one key to success for all entrepreneurial communities, which would include startups and stuff, is surrounding yourself with like-minded people. And then you can expand that to like, not even outside of that, you could argue that you want diversification. You want a community of, I'd say, like-minded driven people, but a community of people from different communities. You know what I mean? And that's kind of what I need is, so construct, like we need more people from Asia, for example. That would be great, so, but again, people that show up that are hardcore, ridiculously focused. Yeah. But my experience as venture capitalist and as an entrepreneur, free sucks. That's why I lowered price from, let's say, $1,000 to $88. Why wouldn't I just do it for free? Because free people suck. Right? If they don't add value, if they don't give value, they don't add value, right? So anyways, that's all. So let me know, right? Let me know. So I'll go back to construct. I'm not picking on you and stuff, but now that I framed it better, right? So like, again, some of our thoughts were like, maybe this summer I do a cryptocurrency course, and that brings some new ideas and new people into the community so we can share and grow and learn. But whatever. The problem is that's a big commitment, right? Yeah, it's a troll filter. It's amazing, right? Like $88. But okay. Santiago says, "Hey Wayne, I work 8 to 6 Monday through Friday as a banker. Cool, right on." Oh, you want to do a meetup, Santiago? Yeah, I'm in New York all the time. I probably need to go again fairly soon, although it was just there. It seemed like a month ago, but I think it was 3 weeks ago. But anyways, yeah, I'll probably be going back. I might go back actually quite a bit. So yeah, next time I'm in town, I guess, huh? But that's New York. I'm going to be in Boston for May, but actually Cambridge. But thinking about it, I'm not going to have time. So I don't know where you are, what bank. Oh, well, no, you just joined the groups. You don't need to, there's no we do everything online, right? So join FX Bootcamp. Everything's recorded. The day trading group, by the way, I meet with the day trading group at 7 o'clock at night to do the pre-Asia Open. No, that's cool, Santiago. Don't worry. Okay. So that would probably be the best for you because you get the day trading group, but then you get the swing trading group Thursdays. You're not going to be able to attend that, but you'll get the recordings. But every single night, and then right before the European Open, we do another day trading group session, and that's also recorded. So you want the day trading group, Santiago. What's up, Adam? Hot, bright, and dusty, huh? All right, so let's get on with it. I wanted to start. I want to ask you something. Okay, let's do it this way. How should we do this? What? Okay, how about this? I'm trying to frame it. What interest rate does the Bank of Japan want their 10-year government bond to yield? Complicated question. Oh, pretty good. Yeah. 0.25. All right, so let's take a look. Let's take a look at the world that we're in. Okay. When was the last time you were on the Bank of Japan website? Jay Moo says yesterday. Really? Well, bravo. Bravo. Honestly, bravo. Bravo. Well done. Right? I just put my arm around your shoulders. Gave you a little squeeze. I said, good job. And then I slapped you on the ass when no one was looking. Now I'm going to be sued for inappropriate touch like Cuba Goody Jr. Yeah, Cuba is now a sex offender because he kissed a bartender. Or no, he kissed a waitress at a nightclub. Now, of course, he's a scumbag and he's been doing it for years and years and years and grabbing boobs and butts and stuff like that. But yeah, I'm like, really? A rich, famous person drinking alcohol at a nightclub kiss the sexy waitress? That's ridiculous. But of course, it is ridiculous. But anyways, yeah. Okay, cool. Let me take this to another level now. This came out yesterday. My troubles seem so far away. Huh? Yesterday. The outlook for economic activity and prices. Oh my God. That's like the guide to Forex trading. Look at you guys just on this. But now, how many people have read this? Oh, right? That's the IMF, right? No. No, 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 no. It is right here. Yesterday, outlook for economic and activity. This is straight up Bank of Japan telling you how to trade Forex. 67 pages. Yet, Maida, you're going to need, what would I say? How about a Trinidad, not a Lancero, but how about a Churchill? A Trinidad Churchill and a pot of coffee. Okay. A Trinidad. Oh, yeah, no, that's a beautiful Cuban cigar. I have a tragedy to report. I've been smoking so many Cohibas. I think I'm off Cohiba. I think I'm off Cohibas now. They've been I smell bad, and I haven't been enjoying them. Maybe it's just the Nicaraguan ones, but I might be off of them, and I'm in search of a new brand for a while. I'm Monte Cristo'd out, and now I'm Cohiba'd out. I don't know, tragic story. All right. Okay. You're still on the World Economic Forum. You know, when I was 20, I was at a World Economic Forum event. And it was an amazing night. They had Japanese drummers and stuff, and they had this big presentation. There was about 1,000 people in the room, all adults wearing suits and ties and elegant dresses and fancy cocktails. And here I'm 20, and I'm wearing a cheap suit from Sears because it was the only suit I had, and it was a big deal, right? Just wearing your first suit is a big deal. And the announcer announced me and two other people that I was with to stand up, and they said we were future global diplomats. And I'm like, oh my God, you know how happy I was in that moment, right? The World Economic Forum called me a future global diplomat. Amazing, right? Yeah. So those conversations are great, and the research they do is great. There's also IMF data out now. There's a lot of really good information out there. 6.6, thank you, Arve. Okay, I own CAD right now, so I hope that's all good. Okay, so anyways, lots of good information out there right now. I'm just trying to show you, like, this stuff is awesome. Now, if you don't know what any of it means, it's okay. This is where I started when I taught myself Forex. So I would go through this, and I would try to pick out a couple of things that I thought might be important, but I just don't understand. And I would, like, maybe two things, honestly. Just two things. In this whole report, 67 pages, if I didn't understand anything about economics, I would try to pick out a couple of things that I thought might be important, and then I'd start doing research. Try to figure it out. I mean, dude, now you got YouTube, because I did all this before YouTube was even a company, right? So now you're just like, dude, YouTube it, and you can learn anything. Does it have technical analysis? No, they're not interested in that. But chart B1-5, impact of a 10% yen depreciation on inflation. Holy shit. That is cool stuff. You're like, I don't know what that means, but it might be important. So do some research. Okay. Are you looking at that thinking y equals mx plus b? Okay. What's the mean and the slope of the mean of that distribution or that sample? Okay, there's so much great information here. Stock market volatility, selected REIT indices. Are you kidding me? Dollar yen and euro yen. Oh my God, when is it? Oh, you got to earn that, dude. You got to earn that. Okay, so you read this and you're like, that was fascinating. So what do you think the Bank of Japan's going to do? Oh, well, this morning, because that was yesterday, look at now, April 20th, an announcement. They're conducting bond purchases in the open market. They're doing quantitative easing today. Well, they announced that tomorrow, the next day, and then Monday and Tuesday, they are buying JGBs, 10-year JGB. I just asked you what the yield is on the 10-year JGB. Isn't that interesting? Well, look, and I've been telling you guys this for, I don't know, I guess 20 years. The central banks determine the value of their currency. The exchange, and indirectly, they determine the exchange value by their operations. So you have to understand their policies and in particular understand the economics of what's happening so you can predict what the next policy is. But then they usually, or very often, they tell you exactly. They tell you exactly what they intend to do. Tomorrow and Friday and Monday and Tuesday, the Bank of Japan will buy JGBs. Japanese government bonds. What percentage of retail Forex traders know this? The bank will purchase the bonds with the highest yield. They even tell you which ones. What percentage of retail Forex traders know this? Okay, so to continue yesterday's conversation, I hope I've added value today. That I showed you not only what is happening, this describes why it's happening, and this describes how you get the information. So that you are part of the 5% retail Forex traders that actually have a chance of making money. Okay? Oh my God, what a great day. I'm going to place an ad now on the YouTube video because I hope YouTube says, oh, good, we're making money on ads on this channel. So we will promote it so we can make more money showing ads. Do you understand that? I'm not trying to make money, but I do want YouTube to promote it. So please excuse this ad. I don't know if it's going to be a banner or a video, but please excuse me but I do hope they promote this channel. Yesterday. So anyways, there you go. There you go, eh? G'day, mate. How are ya? Is your mum? Okay, cool. Lots of things going on in the world. I hope more people now spend time on the Bank of Japan website. Is there a particular impact on the yield curve? Well, only on the 10-year, because they told you they're only buying 10-year Japanese government bonds, in particular ones with the highest yield. So let's just say there's a pool of 10-year T-notes, or sorry, in this case, JGBs, 10-year JGBs. Let's say, whoa, clear that out. Let's say some of them pay 0.27, some pay 0.28, some pay 0.26, some pay 0.25, 0.25, 0.25, 0.25, 0.29. Okay, so let's just say there's a fixed amount of these things, because there is. There's not an unlimited amount of Japanese government bonds floating around the world. There just is a finite number, an absolute number, right, of supply. There's, right, supply. There is this much. So if the Japanese government comes in, or in this case the central bank comes in and say, well, we want to buy a bunch of the 10-year T-notes, 10-year JGBs. And we're going to start with the highest ones. They're going to remove this and remove this. And then they remove this and they remove this, and then they run out of money on that day. Cool. Have any new ones been issued? No. So what's left in the market? What's happened to yield? At the very least, these ones don't exist anymore. So now what's the average yield? Okay. And then let's say they do that on Thursday, Friday. Monday and Tuesday, they come in and they got a little bit of money left over, so they buy this one. So by the time they get to the middle of next week, the effective yield on the Japanese government bond will have fallen to 0.25. Now, it'll also impact price in the equal but opposite area. So what's happening is JGB prices are falling. Okay? Prices are falling. So the central bank steps in and starts buying. What impact does that have? Well, let's explore that for a second. Let's do the opposite side, because remember, in economics, there's supply and demand. Okay? So you have to do both. Let me erase this. La 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 la. Okay, let's do demand side now. So this is price. Okay, so you got to do this. No, hang on now. Okay, and this is demand. No, sorry. Dang it. Undo. How do I undo? There we go. All right, hang on. Having problems here. All right, so that's not demand, but I don't think I can erase it, can I? No, dang it. I'm going to have to draw over it to get rid of it. Okay. All right. So let me try to finish here. All right. Is the supply of JGBs sloping up or down? Is the supply of JGBs sloping up or down? Trick question. It's vertical. Why is it vertical? That is the number, the quantity. That's the quantity. Irregardless of demand. If you want them, if you don't want them, it doesn't matter. That's how much there are. If there are 1 million JGBs, it doesn't matter what the price is. It doesn't matter what the demand is. There's 1 million. That's the number. It's vertical. Trick question. Sorry about that. By the way, that will get you. So you don't get to that stuff until I think you're. So like I said, you start with the principles of economics, then you do micro and then macro, and then maybe around intermediate you start doing that kind of stuff. And that's usually in your first midterm or something. That's one of those trick questions in a chart like this. But, you know, you have to take this chart and then you overlap this with another chart, which then goes to another chart, and this can get really complicated. But let's leave it this way. All right, so let's label our stuff. This is demand. See, demand can change as price changes. Or yield, if you want to do this differently, but it doesn't matter. But supply is supply is supply. But now we're doing demand side, right? So if the government steps in, okay? If the government steps in to buy additional JGB, demand is increased. Okay? And the only thing that changes is the equilibrium here. Okay? And that changes the price. So you go from price sub E, equilibrium, to P2. So price has risen. Now, the quantity is the same, but this is demand 2, higher demand. Demand went up. Okay? Well, the way you should draw it is this way. God dang it. Okay? Actually, what's happened is demand has gone from, right, they wanted this amount, right? But the demand went up. Couldn't meet it, equilibrium couldn't change, so the only thing that went up is price. But anyways, so price goes up, okay, from old equilibrium to new equilibrium, and that changed the price. Okay, so like I said, going into this, the price of Japanese government bonds were falling, and Japan wants price to go up. Okay, and you're like, but wait, why would they care about the price? Well, actually, they don't. So the inverse of this is the yield. If price is going up, price has been falling, which means interest rates in Japan have been going up. Rising interest rates is deflationary, so to speak, but they want inflation. But anyways. Whatever. They don't want interest rate. Let's just put it this way. They've stated that they want to take interest rates down or keep it at 0.25. They're fixing the rate. Purchase size. You understand that? When was the last time you've gone to an auction and you wanted to buy something? It was really important to you. And then Elon Musk shows up to bid against you. And he's got unlimited money. Not only does he have $460 billion, he could borrow more too because he's got more credit than you. You're like, dude, this guy could bet $400 billion. So anyways, they're going in with unlimited amount of money. Isn't that crazy? Jim says, so the Bank of Japan is removing them from the market. Yes, and putting them on their balance sheet. Okay. But when a buyer comes in with unlimited money, they push prices up. Because no matter how much you're willing to pay, see, there's a math to bonds. Okay. Okay. There's a math. So you do the math and you come out to a price. But in this case, there's a buyer in the open market, okay? And they don't even care what the price is. Huh. Is there anyone more rich than Elon Musk, but anonymous? Yes, by far the richest person in the world is Putin. He's probably a trillionaire. I'll put it this way. Okay. Putin's army can kill Elon Musk's army. You're like, Elon doesn't have an army. Well, Putin wins. Now, maybe when Elon is 75, he'll have an army of robots. But yeah, I would guess Putin is the richest man in the world. Okay. It's always easier to destroy value than create it. So Elon revolutionized an industry, and that was electronic payments. Then he revolutionized another industry we call the auto industry. Then he revolutionized another industry called rocketry. Yeah, he said, you know what? I'm going to beat NASA at its own game because because of NASA's mediocrity. Okay, so on and so forth. So that's a lot of value creation because I'm telling you, at some point in my life, but certainly if I'm wrong there, in my children's lifetime, energy will become free. And a lot of that transition was based on a catalyst of getting off fossil fuels for cars. And that'll just snowball into all new kinds of technology. So great. So Elon has created value and has been rewarded for that. That's how capitalism works. Putin has stolen every single penny. He's destroyed value. It's a socialist, pig dog, communist nonsense mindset. Okay? In capitalism, poor people give rich people money. In socialism, rich people take poor people's money. Either way, it sucks to be poor. But if you think of both the Ukraine and Russia, blessed with almost unlimited natural resources, it's pathetic that they're poor. They should not be poor. Ukraine should be, should be on par with Canada, let's say. Per capita GDP is what I'm talking about. Russia should be at least as rich as Canada. Ukraine should be just as rich as Canada. Per capita GDP, education, suicide rates, nutrition, life longevity, child mortality rates, all these things should be on par with Canada, and they're not. Canada is vastly richer. But yet they all have, per capita, let's say, about the same amount of crap. And kind of the same kind of crap. You want wheat? We got wheat. You want beef? You want beef. You want gold? You got gold. You want iron ore? You want iron. You need some nickel? You got some nickel. Right? It's all, they should be about the same. And the same thing with like Argentina. Argentina used to be as rich as Canada. And then socialist pig dog showed up and now it's dirt poor. Okay. So anyways. Yeah, maybe Susan Canada will be living. That's pretty funny. It's pretty funny. But so, I don't know. We need to move towards a form of capitalism. So like I can expand on this. I'm already on a tangent. Half the people have already left. So I'll just continue with my tangent then. Capitalism comes along. Okay. Elon comes along because of capitalism. Capitalism rewards entrepreneurialism. Okay. And he starts Tesla, which leads to battery technology, but also so now just think of it. There's thousands of kids in school right now learning how to be engineers that make better batteries. We're going to have some pretty amazing batteries come out in the next 20 years. 20 years. Forget even 5 years. 20 years. Your car could probably drive across the United States with never even stopping. In 20 years. Okay? So we have to create the energy to store it in a battery. And what'll happen is, because of things like pollution, and now that there's a whole entire industry focused on emission free, all of a sudden there's going to be like this new kind of trend technologically, because computers are maxing out, right? All that kind of stuff. Now you put your computer in your pocket, so we don't need a computer that's 10 times smarter, because we're not 10 times smarter. So anyways, there'll be this new race to clean energy. Okay? And the reason for it is kind of like, well, cars are now on batteries. Now, what about houses? And not just cars, but what about trucks? Like Volvo now has an EV truck, and Tesla's coming out with their truck, right? And by truck, I mean big rig. So anyways, there'll be this whole new fascination, this explosion, from this catalyst that Tesla started, and not just Tesla, but the fact that the entire car industry is moving to electric, to EV, moving to electric. It'll be well, how can we power this more cleanly? And how do we, right? And so back when I was a venture capitalist, we looked at some pretty interesting technology for photovoltaic. There's enough energy from the sun. There's way more. Now, Milos is like, what about ships? What about airplanes? Yeah, it's all going to happen. It's all inevitable now. It's already started. It will happen. So now, right, so we need better batteries, but then we also need to power the batteries, and we'll find a better way. So like back when I was a VC, one of the things we looked at was this product where it was basically paint you could put on top of corrugated metal roof. So think about it, in a shanty town, in a slum, in a third world country, people live in these little huts and they have these little metal roofs, and any electricity that's happening usually comes from little Honda generators. Well, Honda generators are some of the most polluting gasoline engines there are. So it's the dirtiest electric, but that's the only way you can get it because they're not on a grid and stuff. So anyways, this company came along and we looked at it. We ended up passing on it because the technology was still iffy. But the idea was this. You could put the paint on the corrugated metal and it could generate enough energy from the sun to create enough electricity to power like a TV, a radio, and a hot plate. And this was 25 years ago that we looked at this, and it just wasn't ready yet, so we didn't invest, right? But nonetheless, like you could see that technology coming. Okay? Now, the other thing we looked at that time was another paint that also used the sun, and we did invest, and this was pretty cool. We sold the technology to the military, and the idea is you could paint a truck, right? Like dark olive green. And it would leave a military base in a military conflict at night, and it would be almost black. But as it traveled from one base to its destination, let's say a different base, the sun would rise. And based on the sun, the color of the truck would change. And all of a sudden, like if you're in Afghanistan, it would go from dark, dark, dark olive to suddenly it's sandy color. And then by the time it arrived at the end of the day, it would be dark again. We invested in that and we sold that technology. How amazing is that, right? But it was all this paint stuff that we were doing research on and we're buying up IP. But anyways, going back to this revolution that has begun and will happen will then create this one of how do we get cleaner energy and then eventually clean energy. But here's the interesting thing. This will get so good because the energy is coming from the sun now. There's no externality. There's no extra cost it's already free. We're not digging it out of the ground. You don't have to dig it out of the ground, process it, and convert it into some sort of usable energy. It's right there. So what will happen is the price of energy will go down, down, down to the point where its only cost is collecting it and putting it into a battery. And think about it. You don't even need a grid to do this anymore. Your house will just collect its own energy and your house will have a battery and it'll be free. Just maybe every 10 years, just like every 20 years you have to replace your roof. Well, every 10 years you replace the battery or something. I don't know. But the thing is, energy will become nearly free. So the next conversation is, well, if energy is free, what could you do? Look at this. Oh, I'm losing people like crazy. Whatever. I'm on this. Okay. All right. So when energy is free, what can you do with free energy? Because remember, most people have a doomsday scenario. I'm trying to tell you the future is amazingly awesome. The future is amazing. Please stick around. Please be here in the future. Many of the world's biggest problems may go away. Now, we may get new problems, but old ones might go away. Energy will become free. So what will that lead to? Well, one of the things we're worried about in the future is we run out of food. Why do we run out of food? Well, global warming is going to continue going up and we're going to run out of drinkable water. It's either going to evaporate or we're going to drink it all, which is funny because it all gets recycled no matter what you do with it, right? Or we just need more food than we could possibly grow. Well, don't worry about that. Technology is going to improve for growing food, and it's already amazing. And much of the world is still very unproductive. Like Canada's rich because it's unbelievably productive. Same with the United States. But what about this idea of drinking water? It's very important. You got to have clean drinking water. You know what the number one cost to turn ocean water into drinking water is? Now think about it. Most of the world is ocean. You understand? Most of the planet is ocean. And we're worried about if there's 10 billion people on Earth, there's just not enough drinkable water. The number one cost is energy. Well, shit, if energy's free, we have unlimited amount of clean drinking water for humanity in the near future. Because we're getting all our energy from the sun or the wind or whatever, but I think sun or whatever. Okay, because we're putting up buildings all over the planet, so just capture the energy. I mean, dude, it's crazy the amount how hot my roof can get, right? So energy becomes free, and then you're like, well, because of that, we have unlimited amount of clean water to either drink or water our plants with. Okay. Now, what about a different angle? Artificial intelligence, which is now starting, maybe because of Tesla, like driving cars. And now we're like, everything needs to be AI. But whatever. Now, a lot of people are afraid of that. But what about if computers could do tasks that humans can't do very well? And what about robots? What if robots did stuff that just didn't pay well right now? Like let's say, I'll pick on migrant workers. In the United States, if you go to any field, you'll see migrant workers working in the field. Now, it's totally illegal, but nobody does anything about it because if you kicked out all the illegal migrant workers, then food prices would go up, and nobody could afford it. So the United States has this really strange policy. It's crazy. We talk about, there's problems at the borders and we're going to block all the borders and all that kind of stuff. But if you've ever been to the Central Valley of California, there's like millions of migrant workers there illegally. And so I'm like, it's the strangest thing. You hear one thing and you see another thing. But here's the thing with migrant workers. They come, they provide a service, they create value by working in the fields and picking strawberries and tomatoes or whatever, lettuce. I mean, right? If you've been through the Salinas Valley, for example, what's the guy's name? Chavez? Was it Chavez? Anyway, so like there's a great history of migrant workers in California specifically and all that kind of stuff, right? And one of the benefits is, well, it's a lower wage job and therefore it keeps food prices low. Therefore, when you go to Walmart to buy lettuce or tomato, it's cheap. It's deflationary. Now, if you had to pay an American worker, $25 an hour because Joe Biden says that's the minimum, and then you have to provide health insurance and all this other kind of stuff from retirement accounts, and all of a sudden you can't afford to buy a tomato at Walmart because it's $27. Okay? But then you're like, but then the migrant workers aren't treated well and all that kind of stuff. Well, they did show up. So maybe it's still better than the alternative, right? But whatever. What if a robot did it? What if the robot picked tomatoes? Now, you might say, well, that sucks if you're a migrant worker. Okay? Maybe. But indirectly, the price of a tomato would come down exponentially because instead of paying one worker, let's say $25,000 a year, or even just a season, whatever the number is, let's just say 25 grand, every season per worker. Well, what if you just paid the $25,000 once and you got 10 seasons? then the cost of labor would drop by 90%. And that's one of the big costs that you have for your tomato. But also water was another big one. But now water is free because we have unlimited amount of clean water. So your tomato, guys, becomes almost free. Why? Because we're so unbelievably productive. What did we learn in the opposite of that? Non-productivity. Okay, the U.S. government gave money away for free. We have inflation. Why? They screwed it all up. Money for nothing destroys value. It devalues. It destroys value. That's what devaluation means. The U.S. government destroyed the value of their currency by giving it away without getting any productivity. So prices go up. That's the opposite of migrant workers, which means you in capitalism and open markets, you should have people to come and go whenever they want. You want to come to California and work? Come on in. We need you because you'll lower prices. Great. But if you have a robot, even lower. And unlimited amounts of water lowers the cost even more. You see, capitalism lowers prices. And everyone benefits from lower prices. It's deflationary. The other way to jack up prices is do what Putin did. Destroy value. Destroy supply. Destroy the supply. Or what the U.S. government did was create artificial demand. Fake demand or supply destruction raises prices. And it's bad. You don't want any of that. What you want is peace on earth and reward for those that are trying to develop solutions to our global or to our complicated problems. Like, how do we get energy down? How do we get food prices down? How can we provide food, shelter, and a sense of self-worth to everybody in our community? Because you can't have self-worth if you don't do anything. Because if you don't do anything, you're non-productive, which means you don't create value. And if you don't create value, you're worth less than someone that creates value. Wake up in the morning and does something. So as Jim says, I believe the future is amazing. But I'm a former venture capitalist and I am a hardcore entrepreneur. That's how I see the future. The future is amazing. So if you run into a narrative like everything is bad and gloomy and you should lock yourself in the basement, well, let me tell you, you're going to be very unproductive locked in the basement and you're not creating any value. It's easy to be afraid. And when you're afraid, it's because you have no control. And when you have no control, it's because you're not doing anything. Okay? It's going to be an amazing future, guys. So I want you to, instead of the doom and gloom, I want you to, I'm going to reiterate it one more time, and then we'll move on. When you look at what has happened since COVID, so we're only talking about the last 2 years. Okay? If you go back to 2008, where the entire world almost went out of business. Okay? 2008. Every central bank on the planet did quantitative easing. In fact, Ben Bernanke organized about 7 different central banks to all announce quantitative easing at the same time, which was unbelievable. How much inflation did every central bank in the world doing quantitative easing create? How much inflation did global quantitative easing create? Zero. Zero inflation. None. So when you hear the news, people on the news say, the Fed is out of control, their balance sheet's ridiculous, they created all this inflation. They're wrong. They're just wrong. That's absolutely ridiculously wrong. Fail. Epic fail. Put them on fail army. Okay? Now, and that is not just every central bank, major central bank on the planet doing quantitative easing all at once. Over the course of 10 years, no inflation was created. Then COVID comes along, and the U.S. government, the White House, okay, both Biden and Trump's administration did $5 trillion in free money. And we have out of control inflation. Out of control. Why? That money is non-productive. Okay? I want you to remember that fact. There's only a certain amount of value, money in the world, or in, let's say, in an economy. There's this amount of money. Okay? And it goes around and around and around. You buy something, so you got value, and you, so there's value. There's only, okay, there's only exchange of currency, which is a measure of value. Okay, remember, it's a store of value. Money is a store of value. So you might have a television. You want to buy a TV. It has some sort of value to you. Why do you like this TV? Well, I want a 70-inch TV. My last one was a 60-inch. Also, my last TV was a 4K. I want OLED. Why do you want it? It doesn't matter. It's valuable to you. How much value? When the price hits your equilibrium point. And then you take value out of your bank account and you do an exchange. You're like, I think that's $1,200. Here's $1,200. Give me the TV. Okay? So what I'm saying is GDP is, right, is the amount of all our goods and services. But you can also do the same calculation through expenditures. What is it, GNI? And it's the opposite calculation, but they add up to be the same, which means what we produce is what we're worth. And there's money exchanged for worth. Money exchanged for value and money, value and money, value and money, value and money. The whole thing is equal. You can never create inflation because there's only a certain amount of money and we exchange it for value. And then if we all want to buy fidget spinners at the same time, prices for fidget spinners go up until people say that's too expensive. I don't want the fidget spinner at that price. But the thing is, because there's a scarcity of money, there's a value to the money. And you're like, my money is more valuable than a fidget spinner. You can buy it for $5. I only want to pay $2. And then all of a sudden supply goes up too much and then prices come down and the whole thing always finds equilibrium. It's one of the most beautiful concepts in the world. So how do we have inflation then? Because we went to more money. So how does equilibrium work out? Prices go up. Why? Each dollar is now worth less. Because now you're like, shit, I'll pay $5 for the fidget spinner because $3 of my dollars were free. I got it from Biden, so what do I care? I'm basically buying it for $2, right? And that's the problem. The central bank can just take the money away. The federal government, Joe Biden can't come up to your house and say, hey, I gave you $5,000 last year. I'd like it back. Dude, nope. And that's, you know, I mean, I understand the complexity of what we went through. Omicron was a real challenge. I get that. But they overdid it, and then they overdid it again. Because they thought, well, if the Fed could do it, we can do it. And there's a gross misunderstanding of economics at a basic fundamental level of understanding what money is to almost a negligent level. Almost negligent. So that's the problem we're in. Fake demand, and then the other side is like supply. We have a supply chain challenge because of, let's say, the slowdown in China. But also, remember, a fake increase in demand means we can't keep up with supply. We just can't make enough stuff. Why? There's too much money. There's more money than there's product and service. Do you understand that? So it devalues the currency, but supply just, it's like mathematically, okay? Mathematically impossible because it's abnormal. And then the second problem is Putin has come in and destroyed supply. Terrible. So we got to work all this out. And it may take quite some time. But I am a proponent for capitalism and free markets. Not total. I'm not, well, am I a libertarian? No. But I could be. I could be. But I think we should have a little bit more free markets, or at least to show you the danger of market intervention by government. So I have no problem with the Fed. I really don't. I don't think this is a problem with the Fed. Was the Fed a little bit late and all that kind of stuff? Yeah, but they didn't create the problem and all that kind of stuff. And they looked at it from an economist's point of view. And from their point of view, they saw what an economist would see. But it was the White House on both Democrats and Republicans. Now, should the Trump administration, should they have done anything? Yeah, I suppose that their form of helicopter money, I suppose, because that was early on and we needed to do testing. We needed masks. We needed ventilators. We needed new rules and regulations, all that kind of stuff. Okay. But certainly by the Biden administration, did they need to do the next one? Maybe. How about the one after that? Absolutely, totally not. As far as build back better, if you're building roads and bridges, I'm totally for it because it doesn't matter. It's an investment. I don't care how much money you take. You want to do $1 trillion in real infrastructure? Do it. Because if it's an investment, in 20 years, it will produce $2 or $3 trillion worth of value. Do it. Boy, it'd be great if America could brag, we have the best roads and bridges in the world. Okay? I hit a pothole about a month ago as big as my vehicle. And I'm in not the fast lane, but the one next to it. And it just went, whoa, whoa. You know, dude, my Cayenne doing 75 miles an hour. Whoa, whoa, holy crap. So, hey man, if America says, you know what? We want the world's greatest airports. world's greatest freeways, world's greatest bridges. We want to inspire the rest of the world with our seaports. We want to inspire the world with how many solar voltaic cells we're going to put on roofs. Yeah, sweet. I'm all for that because it's an investment. Just never give money away for free. Never, ever. Never, ever. Okay? Never gonna give it, 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 never gonna get it for free. Be productive. Yep. So anyways, destroying or devaluing are very similar. Be very careful. Be very, very careful. Okay, let's take a look at commodities, say where we are, and then we'll get on with it. I'm going to throw another ad down just because it's a transition period. And again, I hope YouTube promotes this. Meta says Build Back Better is not for real investments. Then I'm not for it. The only caveat to that is unless it's truly entrepreneurial development. So I want, like, for example, it's either real, meaning you build bridges and roads. Okay? Which means truly shovels and bulldozers. Okay, cool. Or like a corporation invests money into research and development of new technologies that will be real in the future. So if you say we are going to dedicate, I don't know, let's say $50 billion to the development of solar voltaic cells or other like technologies that can lead to the development of technology like Tesla roofs, where every roof in America in 50 years, because the government's slow, okay? In 50 years, every household in America will have self-generation of power, which means every TV, every phone, every appliance, your heating, your lights, even your car will be completely powered by your house. So these things will all have batteries, but your house more likely will just have a battery, like your car. And in 50 years, because of this investment we're making now, in 50 years, the entire United States grid will be obsolete, and with free energy coming from the sun and no transmission costs. This $50 billion will be worth probably $5 trillion a year. Per year. And all of that money can be put towards growth. Okay? So if you're going to do stuff like that, like if the government said, like the President of the United States can't come out and say, the President would say something like this: the university system in America is the best in the entire world. Americans are smart. Americans are driven. Americans are hardworking. And America is going to lead the future for the world because of the investments I, Wayne McDonald, President of the United States, am committing to. I am going to help develop and support entrepreneurial ideas in America so America becomes self-sufficient, not just at a national level, but on a personal level, where every American is an entrepreneur. And one of the areas we're going to lead is the creation of free energy and clean drinking water for every living person on earth. We will be the leader. We will develop the technology. We will scale the technology, and we will give the technology away for free. But it starts today. I'm going to start the Wayne McDonald School of Entrepreneurialism or whatever, right? And you do whatever a president does. All right. I'm going to build a task force that doesn't do jack. All right. No more task forces. Big fella says you will own nothing and be happy. No, I am not saying that, because now you're going back to like an idea of socialism. No. What I'm saying is that much of your personal spending power, okay? Again, this is your accumulation of worth or whatever. Because you have income, you have expenses. I'm not necessarily saying you're going to have more income. What I'm saying is some of your key expenses will naturally fall through the economics of supply and demand. And the part of the economics of the supply side of the equation is cost. If it costs you $3 to make a fidget spinner and $1 for distribution of fidget spinners, you can't sell them for $3.50 or $4 because you're not making any money. You're breaking even at best. Plus, you're not leaving room for retail markup. So all of a sudden, if it's $3.50 or $4 to get it to the store, bare minimum, the store is going to have to charge $5 for a fidget spinner. So they're like, what I'm saying is, if you can get the distribution costs down, okay, right? If you can get the distribution cost down, or the manufacturing costs, I should say, and the distribution cost, where, right, for example, be interesting. Like, I'm going to throw out an example, and there's tons of arguments against it, and I'm not trying to make an argument for this, but I'm just making an argument. If the delivery truck powers itself and the delivery truck drives itself, the cost of moving fidget spinners from the warehouse to the distribution center to the retail stores, and then maybe you just go online and buy it, so you don't even have to drive your car to the store. You just go online and buy it, and then it goes from the store to your house, and you don't have to pay a human, nor does it cost energy. It just costs the depreciated value of the vehicle, and you have to put tires on it. Okay. The cost of distribution becomes so low that it becomes inconsequential. Like Amazon free 2-day delivery. Now we expect it. Have you ever bought anything from like anybody else? Have you ever bought something from some other retail store, and you're like, dude, why does it take 4 days for you to just process my order? Why did UPS on day 6 just alert me that it's been loaded on a truck? And why did it take 4 days to deliver it? Why did it take 10 days for my order to get the product? It should be here tomorrow or the next day. Well, that's Amazon, bro. That's not the real world. Amazon created that. Jeff Bezos is the richest guy in the world. Or second richest guy in the world, right? Whatever, second richest guy in America. Why? Look at the value creation. Now you're pissed off that it takes you over a week to get stuff? 20 years ago, that would have been remarkable. Now you're like, I bought it. How come it's been 2 hours and it's not loaded on a truck yet? There are still retail stores that take 2 days to process your order and get the product on a truck. Sometimes longer. Oh my God, it's weekend. Well, we don't process orders on the weekend. Well, why the hell not? Well, they don't have robots in their warehouse. Do you understand that? How does Amazon get their distribution costs so low? They have a lot of robots now. And they built a lot of warehouses near your house, and they have amazing inventory management technology. It's amazing. But that's increased productivity, lowering of cost, increase of value. Entrepreneurialism is the way by far. And it's hard to make everybody on earth rich, and that's not the way to do it. And Big Fellas is kind of like, well, then you own nothing. But I don't want that either. I'm not utopian hippie, we all pick tomatoes together. No, I'm not into that at all. I'm so against that. But if you can lower your costs through increase in value, then you have what? Increased disposable income. Okay? But another way to look at it, and I covered this in the macroeconomics course, and you go through we use the IMF data for this, because, we use the United Nations data, because the United Nations has tried or does measure global GDP, but not through the purchase and selling of products and services, but through a measure of like child mortality rates. How many years you expected to live, levels of happiness or depression, levels of illness, life longevity. Instead of measuring it in dollar values, they measure it out that way. So in big fella, what I'm getting at is through what I'm discussing, what could happen is the basic level of human dignity will rise. Because at least everybody in the world has clean drinking water. Okay? Which lowers the value of food, the cost of food, which means we could eradicate hunger. That's what I'm getting at. Don't worry, rich people will always be rich, and you'll own stuff because it's the only way to be wealthy. The only way to be wealthy is to create value, and that usually you're compensated in money, but your money is not worth anything. Money is not very productive, so you invest the money, and money creates more. So I'm saying the opposite of what you're saying there. But on a global aggregate scale now, basic human dignity and self-worth will rise. And that's the future that I have in my mind. And I'm super, super happy, super optimistic. Okay? But our key here is we need to create value in our business model, which is buying and selling of foreign currencies. And you have to understand where in that supply chain we are and the economic conditions needed by each economic trading partner. Because remember, if they're not a trading partner, we don't care. Because it doesn't affect you if you don't trade with them. Okay? And you might say, well, Japan wants one thing, Europe wants another thing, the UK wants a third thing. Canada is one situation, but Australia and New Zealand are in a different situation, even though they all kind of do the same thing, and it has to do with their trading partners. See, Canada works very closely with the United States, a major trading partner. Well, what do? Well, they produce commodities and sell it globally, but just a lot to the United States. Well, Australia produces a lot of commodities and sell them globally. Yeah, but to China. Well, is there is there congruency between China and the United States right now? We have number one and number two trading partners in the world. In fact, in measure of trading partners, China is significantly more important than the United States now in terms of numbers of trading partners. For example, you'll see this in non-political situations, or let's say non-economic situations, but political situations. The United States, right, kind of boycotted a little bit the Olympics in China by not sending an official government delegation, right? How many other countries in the world did that? 4. Okay? The rest of the world really relies on China even more than the United States now. And they're like, United States, we get what you're saying, human rights, we got it. But on our level, we need to deal with China. We want to maintain relations. We don't want to like upset people, all that kind of stuff. And they just did what they needed to do. Okay? But right now, China's in a lockdown and the United States is wide open. Okay? Okay, now Big Fella says, respectfully, I believe we are going through a global genocide, which much evidence confirms. Okay? Decades of evidence backs this, sadly. Okay, and we have entered the dark days, not better ones. Okay, fine. I hear you. One way to explain this is we might be in completely different worlds. Where are you located, big fella? What country? Because I'm not saying you're wrong. I understand your point of view, I think, but now, or I want to understand more, but just out of interest, what country are you in? Australia. Okay. All right. Cool. Interesting. All right. Well, let me ponder this for a while. But I get it. Because there's always going to be an equal and opposite reality. Have you ever watched Stranger Things? They film it right here in my neighborhood. So we're in the shadow world, right? So, okay, I got it. There's the equal and opposite, right? Because I believe the universe comes down to positive and negative energy. Okay? So I feel like there's enough positive energy in the universe to overcome the negative. And that's how we see it, or at least maybe that my intention is to create it, or naively maybe only be aware of that positive, right? Like a mind shift. I live in positive energy because maybe just because I can. Maybe I'm blessed because, I'm a cis white male. I've been told, oh, you just a cis white male. Okay, that's true. Cool. So I've been blessed and born in I was born in Canada, right? But Canada's a rich country. So I was blessed as a cis white male in a rich country. Cool. But I'm going to capitalize on that. If I've been rewarded for this with an unfair advantage, then I better capitalize on it. You guys remember Good Will Hunting? And the genius says to the bricklayer, I just want to lay bricks. And he's like, don't be ridiculous. How dare you throw away your gift? Get yourself out of this job. Get yourself out of this neighborhood. Go somewhere and do something great that we could never do. Don't be an idiot. So maybe I was born and blessed with all these wonderful things. Now I still have to work for everything I have, but that will shape my universe. If that's where I am, then that's the value creation I'm going to need to Great. So, and big fella, maybe you're also maybe as correct, but I'm going to do in my own way whatever I can to try to fix that bigger problem. And if I can use YouTube as a means to find like-minded people and help you be entrepreneurial and self-sufficient, then you're less susceptible to those risks. Okay? Okay? But here's what I like to think. Yeah, we all have an ability. I'm assuming since you're in a country where you're rich enough to have a computer, electricity, internet connection, and a Forex account. Okay? You've been blessed with an opportunity to be able to take care of yourself and your family through Forex. Okay? But then if we teach our children and our grandchildren the similar ideas that I was talking about earlier about making the world a better place by creating value and raising things like basic human dignity, then that positive energy will win. The value creation, big fella, will win. Now, value creation is 10 times more difficult than value destruction. Otherwise, just buy a gun and go rob somebody. It's not difficult. Stick a gun in somebody's face and say, give me the money in your wallet. They'll do it. And you'll earn $50. And you're going to die poor and probably alone. Start a business that offers more value to your customers than the cost. And you will probably not die poor, and you'll die with respect around people that will miss you. Right, Forex for life. That's right. There's the EIA, IMF, World Bank. Yes, there's, right, the slowdown for sure. But remember, that's deflationary. So Forex for life, we're like, well, that sounds really bad. And if we have a global slowdown, or even let's say a global recession for a little bit, what will happen is we'll just normalize prices, and then normalized prices will then lead to growth again. Okay? Yeah, you think things are normalized, and I do too. But, maybe not this week relative to the next 5 years or something, right? But so there's scope and scale and time, and all these things have to be worked out. But whatever, right? Yeah, I'm very optimistic, but that doesn't mean I'm not realistic. Look, if we have a global slowdown, you're going to see it with Aussie dollar come down. The value of the Aussie dollar will fall. Simple enough. Good, I'll make money. I'll be able to feed my kids. Great, cool. Then, if the global economy changes direction, instead works towards growth, well, then I'll buy the Aussie dollar and I'll make money and I'll feed my children. And that's what I'm trying to teach you guys. Many of you guys already know it, but still, right? I want you to be self-sufficient, and what we need to track is money crossing borders. Okay. Cool. All right, so I guess, I don't know. I don't want to go anymore. I think that was plenty. I've done everything except chart analysis. I don't know, it's one of those days. What can you do? Look, I spend a ridiculous amount of hours looking at my charts, but also then going through them again and again and again and again with you guys and my live teams, right? Over and over and over and over and over again. So maybe it's just I needed a mental break. Okay. Yeah, big fella. And I understand your point of view as well. And I hope we can all work toward the end of tyranny. Remember, my view of life is that we can all work together happily. And I honestly believe capitalism is designed for that to work well. If we had mostly capitalism around the world, there will be problems, but we can improve capitalism. I honestly think we can improve capitalism. It works well in rewarding entrepreneurialism. And if you take too much risk, you get punished. Okay? Bankers should have lost their jobs. Banks should have gone out of business, but the government saved them. That's a problem. That's a mistake. That's a moral hazard. But a capitalism, like if your bank bet all their money on mortgages back in 2007, despite how stupid they were, they should have gone out of business and we get rid of stupid banks and stupid bankers. No, we still have stupid banks and stupid bankers, and they live in giant houses. Okay? But nonetheless, what will happen is in the beginning with capitalism, there will not be a balanced distribution of income, but that's not how it works. You get rewarded for your contribution to the GDP. Now you say, well, but like spouses that stay home and work in the household are not counted. My version of GDP will count that. I wrote a paper at Harvard. I would count those that stay at home and raise children and take care of the house. I count them. Okay? I would count them. In fact, I would even pay them. So there still would be transfer payments. Now, the transfer payment doesn't count towards GDP, but a level of productivity, because having a spouse stay home and raise children creates value, and I'd want to capture that. Okay? But nonetheless, there will be a non-equally distribution of value in the economy. And that's where some will say is the downside of pure capitalism, but I didn't say pure capitalism. So that's where I would step in and rework things, and I would count as much contribution to society as possible. Okay? Like paying people, adults to stay home and raise children properly. So you can afford to do it. You understand? Now maybe, right? So now the job you would have had is done by a robot, but we can afford for one spouse to stay home, raise the kid, take them to school, give them a nutritional lunch because food is cheap or even free, right? Drive them to Science Olympiad practice because driving is non-pollutive and free. And because you can stay home and the government can afford to pay you because there's some other task somewhere that a robot's doing. So there's no need for you to work. And because of that, cost of everything is cheaper. So you can afford to stay home. Remember, in 1950, middle class meant you owned your own home, You owned your own home, okay? Which means you still have a mortgage, but did you know back then, mortgages were 15-year mortgages. So you owned your own home, you owned your own car. Brand new car in the driveway. Did you know what? There was no such thing as car loans or car leases. You literally walked onto a car lot and paid $650 for a brand new Mustang. You owned it. Okay? And one spouse, it was women, stayed home to raise the children and take care of the household. And that made you, and you had 2-week vacations in which you jump into your brand new car with your 2 children and you drive from Atlanta to Chicago to see grandma. Okay? To see grandma and back. And you 2 weeks vacation. And that made you middle class. That's virtually nobody in America right now. But I believe we are on our way back. But the risk is we're too late. And there's a social fabric that breaks down. And that's the risk, I think. But the solution is to just keep going. Okay? Okay? Cool. Yeah. So we lost about 40% of viewers. So I will try not to do this the rest of the week. Maybe it was just something I needed to do. Like I said, man, all I do all day, day and night, night and day is I'm looking at these charts. And so maybe to just today mentally I avoided it. But I did start. It's not too late. I'm sort of, I kind of. Maybe I'll do some. I started with the Bank of Japan, and hopefully that was where I peaked. And a lot of people saw that, so that was good. Let me throw another ad, and then we'll do some technical analysis just because we're here. How about that? Let me throw another ad. Okay. Cool. Here's the hourly chart. This is set bearishly. And there's optimism for bullishness. And if you were a bull, you're probably buying euro dollar now. Okay? And it's not on this chart, but you should know that that's a buy zone. But you should already know that. Right? You're still in a weekly buy zone. So now on euro dollar, you have the double bottom, higher high. Now you're in your roll reversal. So pretty simple. Okay, take a look at Aussie dollar. We talked about this collapse. I wrote this all out a week ago and then on Monday, but this is a buy zone. This is a confluence of buying and buying. So you're either buying it now and you're going to, or like that, or you're just not doing it. That's fine. Take a look at Kiwi dollar. Double bottom. Maybe you want to consider it as a higher high. Look across. So not quite ready yet, but maybe tomorrow you do something like that. Okay. That looks less ideal, but it's plausible. Super simple. Go to pound. Okay. Again, we've been watching this for weeks. Bottom, bottom, bottom. So your choice now is, now that there's a breach, up, down, up. So that's later this week and then all of next week already designed and done for you. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. USD CAD, I'm short on this one. I've been short for a few days. Why? This is a sell zone. This is a top. And, okay, we got a breach here. Now maybe a breach here. Look, I drew that out 7 days ago. Look at that. Cool. Great. Fine. So I'm short on that one. That one's great. It's just doing what it's supposed to do. Cool. Let's move on. Take a look at yen. Okay. Euro yen yesterday, here it is, hit the annual This is the projected top. Projected top that we locked on January 1. On the 1st of January, by definition, we said this line, let me make this a little faster. This price on euro yen would be the top for the year. Cool. Good to know. Huh? Good to know, huh? So, is it going to do this? Yeah, maybe. Okay, that's it. That's up. Okay. Okay, you're either a buyer here or you're a seller here. Lower low, lower high, you sold it, right? Lower low, lower high. You're going to sell it, right? Lower low. Uh-oh, don't forget the double top. Then what? Lower low, lower high, sell it. Lower high, sell it, right? Just right? Cool. Nice. Great. Or, like I said, if you're a buyer, cool, you're going to buy the dip. Good. Nailed it. Is anyone going to watch the market on the 21st? That's tonight, boy. When I get together with my day trading group, at 7 p.m., we will watch the market as the Bank of Japan logs in and starts buying 10-year JGBs. Japanese government bonds. We will be there as it's happening. That's sick. Yeah, I know. I hope you see that as a value creation. We already have an agenda. Oh yeah, let's get together when Japan starts buying its own bonds, issuing a batch of quantitative easing. Cool. Cool. Nice. How about this? If you bought a JGB when that announcement was made, by the way, it was made right here. You know that? That's when Japan told us. I want you to think about that. Oh, my mouse ain't working. Okay, Japan told us. What do you think people do when Japan tells you what they're going to do tomorrow? They gave you 24 hours to make money. What did they tell you to do? Buy 10-year Japanese government bonds. Do you understand how many hedge funds just made free money? Japan said, hey, hedge fund manager, why don't you buy some 10-year Japanese government bonds today and sell it to us tomorrow at a higher price? Dude, seriously, like, is it clicking? They're like, we want you to do it. Otherwise, they would have just done it. Why would they tell you a day in advance they're going to do it? Why wouldn't they just do it? They want you to get rich. Cool. So it'd be interesting to see what happens next, huh? Don't over leverage. Use a stop loss. Okay? Gorgeous, like just gorgeous, right? You guys excited about what we do? Here's a 618 Fibonacci retracement. Cool. Cool beans. Okay. Now measure it here. Okay. Anywho. Look, down. A little bit down. Some down. Cool. So I'll leave it at that. There you go. Japanese yen tends to get strong this time of year. It'd be interesting if that actually happened. Central bank's going to intervene tonight. Oh, but you'll be watching Dancing with the Stars. Well, that doesn't create much value. You should be building a legacy for your great-great-grandchildren. Turn the TV off. Turn the radio up to that sweet sound. Hold me close, never let me go. All right, cool. So I invite you to join FX Bootcamp. You can learn some of these things like macroeconomics, fundamentals, but also technical analysis, day trading, swing trading, taking control of your trading, all kinds of stuff. We got like amazing amount of stuff. $88 a year. You can join my live trading groups, $99 a month or $199 a month for both. Simple. It's not expensive. Lots of value creation. I try to over deliver every day. You should join tradersway.com. They're not going to screw you over. That's a good thing. Good, ethical company with good people. And with that, I'll leave you to click the thumbs up button, and I'll leave you to leave a comment on the recording. Okay? And remember, the message of not just myself, but capitalism is peace on earth. Because if we are working well together, we're trading well together, we're both making money together, we develop a positive symbiotic relationship, and our standards of living go up, but also just the idea that we communicate with each other and treat each other with respect leads to a higher level of standard of living. And capitalism supports peace on earth. Because war is destructive. It is anti-growth, anti-productive. Capitalism wants productivity. Therefore, capitalism gets rid of war. Capitalism gets rid of discrimination or sexism or bigotry because it doesn't matter. We want to all work together and be productive together. So peace on earth. May the pips be with you. May your profits be above average. And I'll see you later. Cheers.